I lost 24K in like 30 minutes. Yeah, trading meta options. I lost $24,000, a Honda Civic.
And I added up every single time I broke that rule of all the money past 300, negative 300. And at the end of the year, it was $50,000.
I knew it was going to be a lot, bro.
I was like,
grow up.
I was like, bro, if you just would have respected this one rule, you literally would have made an extra 50 grand. It's like, that's crazy.
I feel like this is a controversial take, but I don't know many successful traders that are out of shape. I feel like it's something that's a prerequisite. Like, you have to take care of, like I said, the mind, body, the spirit, and then that can make you perform the best. Don't think trading is a one-trick thing. Like, this whole podcast is more entrepreneurship stuff than just trading stuff. Successful entrepreneurship feeds successful trading.
And the more that you invest in yourself and you don't think of money as your God, but think of it as a tool to use, then you will be much more successful.
Traders, welcome back to the podcast. The third week in a row with a very special panel. We've got Lawrence, Tanner, and Clay here. So Clay was recently on the podcast. You guys probably know his story. Tanner's been on actually recently with Dr. Dave, your trading psychologist, and I think we've done 1 or 2 episodes together.
We've done 2 other episodes.
Wow, bro. So you might be the most, other than him maybe, that's been on the show. This will be the 4th time we've done an episode together.
Keep it going, baby.
People are going to start to think some things about us, bro. We might have to fight those rumors a little bit. But Lawrence, it's your first time here too, buddy. So welcome.
Thank
Lawrence
you,
the investor from Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, sir.
You want to introduce yourself real quick to everybody?
Of
How
course,
long you've been
absolutely.
trading and how you met Tanner?
Yeah, so basically I've been trading for about 4 years now. First 3 years was options. I just recently go into prop firms about a year ago. Me and Tanner met because I reached out to him on Instagram, right? I was looking for a trading coach. I needed like more help with the back end process, with my journaling, with my consistency, right? I was going through the boom and bust cycle a lot. Like, I would make tens of thousands of dollars a month and then wipe them back and forth. Yeah, I've even quit a few jobs thinking that I was profitable, and then come to find out I wasn't, and then I would have to go back and get another job. So I'll put all my eggs in one basket, break the basket, go get some more eggs, come back, try it again. So I reached out to Tanner. We got on the call. He was just like, bro, I love your energy. Normally when I talk to traders, they're like really introverted, don't talk too much, give me very little details. And me and him just kicked it off ever since, bro.
I love it.
Yeah.
What did you see in him that you thought, hey, not only can I maybe make this guy a really good trader, but we might even be able to do some business together? Because now we got the strong trading coaching program rocking and rolling. So what did you see in him that made you believe he could be good?
Well, at first, it was just, it's energy first thing. It's like, so when I get on calls with people, I can tell right away, I'm like, it's the vibes. I'm like, well, you can get on calls and you're like, this guy barely even talks, or like, this guy, isn't going to open up or whatever. Right away, I was like, this dude's super chill, humble, and he was really into like trading psychology and process and all about that. And like, what we coach is process. That's like what we focus on. So like dialing in his journaling. I remember like when I introduced you to the easy money trade of the day and playbooking, he was like, oh my God. And he like just went ham at it. He did all the work. He went ham, and he was literally my first student to successfully quit his 6-figure job and replace it with trading full time. So I was like, when I started growing more and more with strong trading, I was like, I need to look for another coach, and me and him just always stayed in touch. And I was like, hey, would you be interested in this? He's like, I'm in. So that's kind of how it connected, and just right away, it's been perfect.
It's a beautiful thing too, because you can come into the marketplace, offer your services as a coach, and see how the market reacts. There's no green light, red light. There's no gatekeeper. It's just, how does the market take you? Does the market like you two together? Clearly it is, because you guys are booked out right now. You have a wait list. Or does the market say you suck, and then you have to go back and figure out the other thing? So I think it's super cool that you guys are willing to take that plunge, willing to be judged, willing to put yourself out there, because everybody says trading coaches, not everybody, some people, losers, say trading coaches are not worth it, trading courses are not worth it, which is just a loser's mindset. So the panel today, why we're all here and why I picked you guys to be on this, is because I think you guys have that bulletproof mindset. Lawrence, I met you once or twice, we've talked a little bit, and I can see it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we really want to get across to the viewers, is like building discipline, building a mindset that can get you through the hard times that you're going to encounter as an entrepreneur, not just as a trader. And all of us have different experience in that. So speaking of you, buddy, Mr. Entrepreneur, how's the launch of Top 1 been?
It's been crazy, man. We've officially passed a month now. I guess it's been like 6 weeks, 5 weeks. it exceeded our expectations probably by 10. You know what I mean? So it's been like to say, man, there's so many parts and pieces and people and, technology that go into a prop firm. People don't realize. They think, it's going to be easy. You can start a prop firm. We're going to make a lot of money. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So Matt, and me and Matt, I mean, we're working 18 hours a day. We're always on WhatsApp. We're always answering our messages. So, but man, it's been awesome, meeting like me and you are already boys, but like new people like Lawrence and Tanner and hanging out. I mean, that's, if we're talking about entrepreneurship, it's important to make those connections and network so that you can have some enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean? It makes it worth it. And it also too makes the long nights and everything else worth it as well,
100%. Traders, real quick, a pause from today's podcast to thank our first sponsor, Top One Futures. You've probably heard about them by now. Top One has been a sponsor of this show for over 2 years. We've got a link in the description that's going to save you over 35% on any challenge with Top One Futures. Just use the code ASFX and that'll save you the biggest discount that they're offering at the time of you watching this. Big shout out to Clay for being here and also for helping us make this podcast happen. A big thank you to our second sponsor, TradeZella. If you're not tracking your trades, you're falling behind. I can save you on the monthly plan and the yearly plan, whichever works better for you, but we would highly recommend that you start tracking your trades today using TradeZella. I'm a big fan of Umar. They have been nothing but supportive and helpful to me and my community, so we want to save you guys money and we want to get you tracking today. Use the link in the description and you will be able to save either 10% or 20% on your monthly or yearly plan. Now let's get back to the podcast. We all were at the seminar in Tampa last week. What was your biggest takeaway, Tanner, from the seminar and hearing the other people speak? Was it something that you heard outside the seminar? Was it something that you heard in the seminar?
It's honestly just the love and the vibes, dude. Like it's when you're at an in-person event for trading, it's just a unique experience. It's nothing like you can compare because everything's online, right? That's the hardest part, I think, of this industry is everyone's behind the keyboard and just by yourself. It's super introverted. So for someone like me personally, I grew up in the restaurant industry. I am extroverted. I got energy. I'm out there. And so for me, being in those events in person, I'm ready to talk to everyone. Like this is how it should be. And it's just so cool because a lot of people out there probably feel the same thing. You can't talk with your significant other, even your friends, family about trading itself and in the struggles we go through because it's so unique. And unless you're a trader, you just don't understand. So to be in a room and be like, oh, dude, yeah, so I had this great setup and this stopped me out here and then it ended up running my stop and then going to target. It was so frustrating. You tell that to your friend or whatever. They're like, oh, okay. But you tell it to a trader, they're like, bro, okay, let's break it down, So my biggest takeaway was it's just like being able to connect with people in person and not just being able to learn, number one, because everyone's giving good information, and the actual networking aspect is just what I just think it makes it great.
What about you, Lawrence?
I would say the biggest takeaway for me was seeing, first of all, kudos to everybody who live traded in front of all those people. Okay.
100%.
So when I saw you guys live trade, you all had different theses. I don't know if thesis is a word. We're going to make it a word.
Geese, goose, whatever.
Yeah, theses. You guys had a lot of different theses, different ways you trade, different systems, different edges, and there was no wrong answer. There wasn't a wrong answer. The only right answer was that you guys knew your process. You knew your system. You knew how much you was going to risk. You knew how if Tanner is going to go for the gold like me and him go for, or if Isaac is going to trail his stops, different entries, different stops, all these different things. And everybody was green. Everybody was making money. And even if somebody did have like a red day or whatever, it was a controlled loss. How you guys responded to a loss, that was a beautiful thing. It's not necessarily if you lose, it's what you do after you lose, right? That's the most important thing. So seeing everybody trade live, seeing you guys talk, you guys are inspiring, dude. Like, inspiration is like enough to drive anybody to their goal, right? Motivation, inspiration, hearing your story, hearing Tanner's story, hearing Isaac, Zach, Evan, Joey, all these different guys, bro. And you guys were so cohesive, it was amazing. And then talking to other traders, right? Like when we talk to these other traders, we're all obsessed with this. We're all obsessed with it. So talking to it nonstop, getting contact informations, just working together. It's a beautiful thing.
And what do you think, Clay? Biggest takeaway from the
Yeah,
event?
I mean, for me, it just gets back to like the networking, meeting people in the trading space, because like anybody that's a trader, entrepreneur, man, it's a lonely journey, and especially trading too. And if you're not profitable or you're going through the boom and bust cycles, you know, where I've been through that too, man. It's like you feel like the king of the world one day, and then the next day you're like want to go like cry in a closet, you know what I mean? So but having those shared experiences and then connecting with people over those, it makes it all worth it, you know? So
100%. And I think you make a good point. We all connect through our entrepreneurial spirit. Part of this panel, and like I said, why I picked you guys is because I want to go back. I don't want to just talk about the way you trade. People can go watch you guys and see that. I want to talk about how you build discipline, how you build resilience. Where does that come from in your stories? So let's just start off. Who'd like to go first? You mentioned you got a crazy story about a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Did you know me and him, first interview we did,
Yeah.
he came to Tampa. He lives in Sarasota, so it's easy. But Matt, the CEO of Top One Futures, came to Tampa. We filmed this podcast. Shitty video quality. Y'all can go watch it. It's up on my channel still. We posted it, but it was terrible. It was not like this. In that podcast, he talked about his Honda Civic story, living in the Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Remember, you didn't even know that until
I didn't even know that
until he
I didn't know
told
that
us.
thing about, you know, his dad.
His dad,
and stuff,
yes, So I want to start with a loss or a lesson that you came across in your life before you started trading that you look back on now and think that shaped me because I handled it this way. It made me better, or maybe it taught you something. So you want to kick us off?
Yeah, of course. So my Honda Civic story. I didn't live in a Honda Civic, and I didn't crash one. I lost $24K in like 30 minutes. Yeah, trading meta options. I lost $24,000 a Honda Civic. Yeah, and the crazy part about that is I actually was calm, right? I was actually calm that day. I lost $24,000. Then I was like, yo, if I can lose $24,000 in a day, that just means I can make $24,000 in a day. It's never one-sided. It's never one-sided.
Why do you think that?
Because, man, like, millionaires lost thousands to become millionaires. Billionaires lose millions to become billionaires. Like, it's a trade-off. It was a lesson. It was a $24,000 lesson, okay? And since then, I've made 24K in a day before, right? Like, it's just higher highs, right? That's what life is. Life is the market,
and
right?
higher lows.
Higher highs, higher lows. That was my higher low. I was at one point when I used to lose $100 and lose my shit.
Right.
Now I lost 24K. You know, that day. That was like last year, right? I lost 24K. I've made 24K in a day. I've made 30K in a day. So
How do you bounce back from that?
ebbs and flows.
I want to chime in real quick.
Were
on
you
this.
around during this?
I want to chime in because I was coaching him at the time when it happened. I'd never forget it. And he was on a hot streak. So he was real hot. He was crushing it. I remember he's like, you had your best day ever with me. We were live trading together.
Yeah.
He made like $2,400. And he's like, let's go. I was like, that's your best trade ever? He's like, that's my best trade ever. And then he just started snowballing. It was like, next day was like 3,500. Day after that, he made like 4,500. And it's trading options, like real cash. And I'm like, bro, you're on fire. He's crushing it. And then I was like, yo, let's calm down.
Slow down.
Let's dial down, because this is the classic. Like, you know, you get all hot, you get all egotistical, and then all of a sudden you make one wrong move or you start averaging down because you're like, this has to work. This has to work. So I was like, let's scale back, pull some money out. And I remember you were like, I want to build this up like to like 50K or something like that. I remember it. And I was like, you should pull out 25, like pull out something. And he's like, I will. And then he goes, Tanner, I fucked up. And I was like, what happened? And he sends me the screenshot, and I was like, oh, dude, no. And he's like, I just went on tilt. I just started averaging down on this meta position. I was so confident, and it just never turned around and never turned around. And then, boom, lost 24K. But the most badass thing is literally the next day, he just got right back on the saddle and kept going.
So you didn't blow your whole account.
No. I
Just
didn't
took a
know.
big loss.
It was just a big loss.
Do you know what percentage of your account that was? Like 50%, 25%?
I think at that time it was probably
50%.
at least 50%. It might have been a little bit more, 60% max, but it was ridiculous. Because at that time I was on a winning streak. So when you're on a winning streak, it's very hard for you to accept loss. And at that day, I couldn't accept the loss because I was so used to winning.
Overconfident.
Overconfident.
You can't lose. You're hot.
Yeah, like, come on.
So
I'm Kobe.
I'm Kobe. Come on. Not anymore.
Yeah, not no more.
No, now you're like Meta World Peace.
Without the Crack.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot about that. So I think that's a great story. I appreciate you sharing that. Only because for the listeners, my thought is you hear that story, everyone's got it. We've all had those big blowout days, but you bounce back. You bounce back the next day, though. I find that very interesting because most people probably have to step away after a big loss like that for a week or a month or a couple of days at least. So why do you think you were able to bounce back so quickly?
I was aware that I was in that boom and bust cycle, the same awareness that brought me to Tanner. Knowing that I was in this boom and bust cycle, know that I was kind of overdue for that in the back of my head. And I just had to be honest with myself about it. And I think at that time I wasn't being honest, and that's why I kept trading and I didn't size down like he told me to. So when I lost that 24K, I earned it. I deserved it, right? Just to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. How did the next couple of weeks and months progress? Were you able to bounce back, make it back, and go forward, or was there another bust?
The boom and bust cycle lasted a while for me because I started trading in August 2021. I think that I got over that hump March, April of 2024 last year. I always want to give like proper expectancies, right? When we're talking about trading, like you have to rewire your brain, bro. Like this takes a while. Okay. Consistency is all about the psychological piece, emotional intelligence, EQ, all of those good things. So coming back from that loss, like I said, I already knew that I deserved it. And that's the exact reason why I reached out to him. It was the awareness piece. So I sized down and I started building it back up again, that confidence back up again, just took my time and just was real with myself, dude. Like you have to be honest with yourself. So
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
What do you got? I know you got some fun stories. Give us like a biggest red day story and
Yeah.
how you recovered.
Yeah, so I remember actually it was my third year of trading, only option still at that time. I had just become profitable. It was February, and I was finally having my first 5-figure month. I was up $12,000 on the month. There was 3 days left, and I was like, let's go. This is my record month. It was a Friday. I traded some 0 DTE options for all you degenerates out there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I took a loss. I lost like 700, 800. All right. Well, I've been crushed. I can make that back. Took another loss, down 1,600. It's pretty bad. I should probably stop. But I could pull out. I've been crushing it. Take another loss, down 2,700. And I just kept going and going until I talked about this previously on our last pod, but I only kept about $5,000 in my cash account to protect me from this exact type of scenario. And literally that day, I ended up blowing the whole account and I lost $5,000 in a day. And so I just made my nice $12,000 month down to $7K. And the next day, I like reloaded and everything, lost another $2,500. And the bleeding kind of carried over, and then I ended the month like down. Or I was still green on the month, but I like sabotaged myself. And that day is when I was like, it's so easy to get overconfident and like be like, I'm unstoppable, right? And like nothing can stop me. But it was like, holy shit, I can't believe I just let that happen. Like, this is why you have to have guardrails, right? And I've talked about this story a little bit before in the past where I went through all my data, I think my second or third year of trading. And I remember I had like a max daily loss I set for myself. It was $300. Like that's the most I can lose in a day. And I added up every single time I broke that rule of all the money past 300, negative 300. And at the end of the year, it was $50,000.
I knew it was going to be a lot, bro.
I was like,
grow up.
I was like, bro, if you just would have respected this one rule, you literally would have made an extra $50,000.
Yeah,
It's like, that's crazy. So that's the thing is like, it's really hard to stomach and like accept those losses. And it takes so much rewiring of the brain and practicing. And I remember even at that time, like calling Thinkorswim and being like, can you set up like a lockout on my account if I lose this much? And they're like, no, like you can't. And so I remember just trying to do that. So now trading with like brokers like Project X, like with Top One, I could set that and it could auto lock me out now. So like futures, it's like when it does happen, I take that loss. I just always remember, I'm like, you trying to make it back, it'll work 9 out of 10 times. But that 10th time it doesn't, you know, you're back to zero and restarting. So that was like, it took me a long time to get through that. And then I still have to battle that urge and fight that demon with myself every day. It takes a lot of self-regulation, but that's my story.
What was the bounce back time like? Like, he comes back the next day and makes a bunch of money. I feel like when I've had big losses, I have to stop. Like, I can't keep trading, especially if I'm trading personal account. I will probably lose money the next day. And like, even with my gambling, my sports bets, when I go on a cold streak, I stop. But like I find it interesting. You came back the next day and just kept going. Like, I don't think that that's common. I'm just being from my coaching experience. I don't even recommend that to people. When people take big loss, I tell them to stop.
For sure.
So how did you handle the bounce back after that? Because it was 2 losing days in a row, you said.
Yeah.
Blew the account, re-upped, go again.
Yeah,
now, how do you bounce back? What
So
do you
then
do?
fine. So for me, I'm just stubborn, and I'll just keep trading the next day. I'm like, all right, just trade again, even though I know I should take time off. And then now too, I've gotten so much better now where like, if I have a really bad week, I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna take Friday off and like take the whole weekend off. Like, it's okay now because I've been in it long enough where I'm like, preserve your mental capital, like save yourself. But for me, you have to hit that like max pain feeling of you're like, oh, this is gonna keep going really bad. Like, dude, I just lost like $7,000, $8,000 in a couple of days. Take a base hit, walk away. And so it's like, but you have to like really click that on. So I think I did that finally the next day. I made like $300 or $400. It's like, okay, next day, same thing, $300, $400. And then like that really helped me like start to kind of get back at it, because people linger too much in the loss. And so you have to treat each day as a brand new day and just be like, okay, what's going to help me for tomorrow? A one and done, base hit, boom, go on.
You, I think, hit the nail on the head. Smaller size after losses helps you find your confidence again. You can always size up, but if you keep the size the same and you keep losing, you're going to be upset. You're going to have to keep re-upping that account. What about you, buddy? You got a good story for us?
In terms of like loss
Yeah.
for trading?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was just sitting here thinking about it. I don't know if we've talked about this on a
No,
podcast.
I don't think so.
You know what I'm going to get into?
No.
Okay. So
Here we go, everybody.
The payout that I was denied, I guess it was.
Oh, we have not talked about that on the
Right,
podcast.
yeah. I won't name which prop firm it was. It was for Forex, but it was 140K payout.
Denied.
That got denied. Right around Christmas.
Should I say the company's name?
No, it's all right. I don't want to.
I don't trade Forex. I don't care. Say it.
Yeah. So, dude, and that's right when we first
met.
started
Yeah.
working together, hanging out and stuff. And it wasn't too long after I moved to Sarasota, and yeah, man, that was devastating. And it was like right around Christmas, and of course, but this is something too that I have to work on with myself is. Counting the chickens before the eggs hatch, you know what I mean? And like, I think every trader does this, where you're like, you get up and you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be able to pay my truck off, and then I'm gonna go, book this trip to Brazil, and you know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy too, because I can do that and go off into like a fantasy land about money that I hadn't even made yet. I mean, to me, I was gonna get the payout, so I was like, it was coming. It was right around Christmas and stuff, which made it even worse. But yeah, that was devastating. And I think I would be lying if I'd said that my confidence had been, if I've fully built it back, to be honest, since then. Because then, stuff was happening with Top One. That was the reason, too, that they decided to deny the payout. I know now that they wouldn't have been able to pay it, right? So they were probably like, they saw that, I'm associated with Top One and like say that as reverse trading or something like that, which it's not that easy to do.
No.
It doesn't work. People think that, I could do that, but that it's just not realistic. But so that was devastating for sure. And I didn't even try to trade again for another 6 months.
Really?
Yeah, because Top One was taken off, and
Just busy.
even now, because like with trading, you have to be, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be focused on that thing. And it's like, if you're trying to grow strong trading, and then also too, like if you have like 4 coaching calls in a day, right? How can you really concentrate on, your trading in the morning? It's super, super hard. So like, setting aside that time in the morning to trade and be like, this is the only thing I'm doing. It's so hard not to be like pulling up your phone, looking at your WhatsApp, looking at your messages and Slack or whatever it might be. So yeah, I think for me, whatever it is, if I could have a takeaway from that, I was trying to do too many things at once too. I mean, obviously would have liked that payout. That would have been like kind of life-changing at the time because we had just started Top One, really didn't have any money. You know, everything was invested into the business and stuff. And I remember Matt and Bryson and my brother Todd, all of us were just like super stoked about it. And then, man, I made this like this 30-minute video expose, and I'd never posted it. Everybody's like, you should post it, this, that, but I just let it go, man, because that's all I could do, you know, after being bitter for like a good week. But
I'm curious to know, how does that payout denial influence the way that you run the two programs?
Yeah, for sure. I know the feeling, you know, like times 100. You know, so
140,000,
140 times 140K. So yeah, payout denial, that's something that, you know, and Matt talks about it. And that's like, if you follow the rules, you will get paid. And that's why we're so, and really it's Matt's leadership, CEO of Top One, of, you know, the finances and everything else, making sure that we have enough cash reserves to pay out traders that deserve payouts. Because the truth is I know now, because I actually got to know the owner of the company too, and we're cool about it. You know what I mean? So and I will say too, to his credit, if he watches this, they paid me out like 25K. So I had like 25K payout, and then the 140. And so he's like, "I'll pay you the 25." Wow. I was like, dude, because I'd already submitted it to Rise or whatever, and so I was like, okay. Thanks. You know what I mean? I'll take it.
Here's your Honda Civic, not a truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's made though, like, because I don't see any tweets about payout denials from Top One, Trader or Top One futures. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it impacted the way you and Matt operate, where you'll take the hit. Like, there was a couple of guys with Top One Trader when we were using Top One Trader was the sponsor of the podcast, and we had a couple of big Forex influencers go to you guys. We won't say his name either, but that guy, he was like probably in the wrong, and he doesn't trade with you anymore. And
yeah,
then
he was churning accounts.
He was churning, and you still paid him out.
Yeah, we still paid him out because, of course, he was like, I'm gonna go to all my YouTube and kind of like blackmailed.
Love that.
Yeah, blackmailed us over that, and we're like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Right. So, but yeah, I think it impacts it just like. Because I know how that feels, right? So to me, the traders aren't just like numbers or whatever else, because as a trader, that's how I like started in this industry in like 2015. That was like my first love, you know what I mean? So, and I know the feeling from a loss, and it sucks, but I will say it is definitely necessary.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not 140K like payout denial, but learning how to process, having those big letdowns, disappointments, you know, things aren't going to be going well inside of life, outside of trading, you know, so like how do you have to learn how to have like different outlets to juggle those things, you know?
It reminds me of the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So you build the resilience through those hits, and it transpires into or translates into how you handle the rest of those situations as they come forward. So maybe, Tanner, you want to speak on that a little bit? Just the discipline to handle losses the right way requires a certain perspective that you only get, like you're saying, through immense pain, because it's the yin and yang of life, right? So you have to feel the balance of it. So now when there's listeners on the podcast thinking, I'm a new trader, maybe year 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5, and there's still ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and maybe they feel like they're not moving in any way forward. They're just up and down. I would normally turn to them and think it's the way they're viewing the losses that's probably not allowing them to grow. You're shaking your head, yes. So what do you think?
1000%, because the best traders I know, like much better than me, 10, 15 years of experience, still experience drawdowns. Right. They go through drawdown periods. Like you hear it all the time of, you know, like, oh, I'm even like multimillionaire traders.
Ray
like,
Dalio. His like hedge fund folded like the 80s, right?
Yeah, it's like they all go through stuff like that. So I mean, even like a bunch of people I've connected with through like Traders for a Cause. One of my buddies actually, Danny, if you're watching this, shout out Danny. Danny trades small caps, and he's a great trader. Like I think he did like 500 or 600K last year, and the beginning of this year when the market turned, he went into I think like a 70K drawdown or something like that. And he posts his stuff every day. It's just super transparent. So it's like he's posting a screenshot of his Thinkorswim, and it's like -7K, -12K, -14K, and I'm like, just keep going. He's like, I know, I've experienced drawdown. He's like, it just sucks, but I'm gonna keep going. And I literally just saw him post today, and he made $50,000 this week.
Wow.
And so it's like, you know, he's a great trader. He goes through those periods and those struggles. You know, I've also heard stories of like multimillionaire traders going through this stuff where like, you know, they lose so much money in certain periods of drawdown and they have to take the step back. So it's like, when you are in that ebbs and flow stage where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, you know, I was doing well, wasn't doing well. You just got to remember it is a bigger picture, long-term game. And like, you're going to suffer. You're still going to suffer. So, but it's all about just slowing yourself down as much as you can and being like, okay, get back on the horse. Like, figure it out. And then you start to like, you know, you're going to have great periods, slow periods. And that's like, it's just trading. That's
You
like,
want to get on that?
Oh, absolutely. So I think that, and I agree with that. One of the biggest things is that we all know, you know, drawdowns happen, right? We know this, and this is something I touched on in the seminar briefly. There's a difference between knowledge and belief, right? So I know not to overtrade. I know not to revenge trade. I know that losses are tough to stomach, but why don't I believe it enough to a point where my emotions are still leveled, right? So there's the gap between knowledge and belief. And for me, I did a lot of, you know, study into it, and I believe that it's lack of preparation. I think that you're going through a lot of emotional volatility with these ebbs and flows, and it's due to the fact that you're not properly prepared. Backtest 1,000 trades. We went on that.
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Yeah,
we're going to get into
backtest
that.
rant.
Yeah, the backtest rant, man. And the reason why I'm so gung-ho on it is because I backtested my same system, one time frame, about 2,000 times. And with the exact same entries, exact same risk, exact same exit strategies, right? Over 2,000 times, I was able to see the probabilities. I was able to see that the same thing I did equal a loss and the same thing I did equal to win, right? And once you actually witness and experience that knowledge now becomes a belief. So when I'm in drawdown, which I am this week, I come on this podcast and I'm fine, bro. Like, I know it's ebbs and flows because I truly believe it, because I witnessed it through extensive back testing and preparation, right? So that's my touch on it. You have to be prepared. You have to know, not only do you need to know your win rate, you need to know your system's loss expectancy. How many can you lose in a row based on the data that you collected through extensive back testing, right? I like to think of us traders, we are high performers, but we're also scientists, bro. We collect data. That's what we do. So once you get enough sample sizes in, once you collect enough data and you have the proper expectancy of your system, which it can yield you, then the emotions start to fade.
I want to touch on this too, because there's so many ways to extract edge in like these little things that we do. A good example is I love my pullback to VWAP setup, trade it all the time. And I remember I kept taking a bunch of losses on it toward like really close to the open. And I was like, what time does this work the best? Because there are times where it works better than it doesn't. So in exercise, I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just start ripping through charts for the past 60, 100 days and just see what time does this setup happen? How often does it happen? And is there a time to avoid, not even to look for it? And so I remember I started going through, I went through 60 days in a row, like just, okay, here it is. What time was it at? And I found out of 60 days, there was only 3 times my pullback to VWAP setup worked before the first 15 minutes of the open.
And that's crucial.
And I was like, okay, so why am I sitting here like guns blazing, ready to rip the open when my setup is gonna happen 95% of the time after that?
Right.
So those little aha moments from going through data like that, little exercises, it's data. It's giving you information to be like, okay, well, if you just simply sit out this period, your strategy that you're specifically trying to execute, this setup, has a higher percentage win rate if you just fix this one variable. That's it. So little exercises like that, they seem nuanced, but the devil's in the details. That's what trading is. It's about nuances. And I learned that actually really good from Lance. Lance would always, I remember going over, pullback to VWAP with him a little bit. And he was like, okay, he's like, well, what time does it work? What does it look like when it pulls into VWAP? What do you need to see there? You know, like what are those type of details? Even my other mentor, Kyle, like same thing. Like he's really big on the signal bar. So it's like he taught me the whole basis of the signal bar when it pulls into VWAP, basically saying like, as it pulls into VWAP, look for some sort of 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, like bullish engulfing candle, hammer, like a signal bar to like tell you that we probably are going to reverse. And if that's not there and just slices through it and you're just like putting an order out at VWAP,
You get smoked.
You get smoked
Every time.
So that's a nuance, right?
Yeah.
It's a little exercise you can do, and enough traders don't take time to go back and like do those things, but that is where edge is actually built.
I love that. Preparation though, I want to go back to that. Let's talk about what you guys are doing, like not just for trading, but for like being an entrepreneur, wearing multiple hats, managing people, managing your relationships, managing your finances. What are you doing day to day? Let's go into like the nitty gritty for a few minutes because people like the routine conversation. You want to start?
Yeah.
You do a good job with this. Like you have a very,
for sure.
I give you a lot of credit, bro. You live a good life, like a balanced life. Like you
Yeah.
take care of your fitness, your mindset, your spirit. Like you do all those things really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's about doing things like outside of trading or business or whatever that are difficult, right? So like when I'm going to go to a jiu-jitsu class and I've been working all day and then I go to 6 o'clock class knowing I'm going to roll with somebody like Tanner's size and I end up smashed. Like, you know, it's not like some days I go and it's awesome and I'm crushing it, and then other days too, I'm just getting smashed the whole time. But I always feel better about myself after, you know, you get that endorphin rush and the high from it. Plus, I know that it's helping me be able to manage under stress. Like, you know, when you're in a super bad position, situation, or whatever, somebody's trying to choke you and you still have to like think through it. You know what I mean? So doing stuff that's like hard, but for me, also fun, right? So like surfing's another one, right? So like we're gonna go out, both of those activities, by the way, you can't have your cell phone. You know what I mean? Like when you're surfing, you can't be on there like on your phone. When you're in jiu-jitsu, you can't have your phone,
No,
right?
you're in the real world.
Yeah, you're in the real world, exactly. You're not on Twitter.
No.
You're not beefing with people on Twitter.
With
Your
cars
favorite
as their
pastime.
cars as their username. They're my favorite guys.
Yeah, your
When they hide behind a little
your
logo.
favorite pastime, dude. So yeah, so like having some sort of activity where I'm super bad about this. I'll go to the gym because I like lifting weights too. And I'm on my phone the whole time, and I'm trying to be better about that so I can just like be focused on, you know, getting after my workout or whatever. But stuff like jujitsu, surfing, where I'm removed from my phone because, man, you know, I get the screen time thing at the end of the week. I'm just like, oh God, my life is
18
just
hours
wasting.
sometimes in a day for me. I'm on
Yeah,
my phone.
14,
That's
15
insane.
hours. I'm on my phone all day long because of
insane.
work and everything else. And
So the unplugging for you
Yeah.
really helps
critical
balance it.
and then also doing things that are difficult
Difficult.
right?
Do the
Like,
hard things.
yeah, I
And
mean,
win.
I love to go out to eat and like, you know, pamper myself, but that I'm not like growing as a
Isaac earlier was like,
person.
on my losing days, I go get my toes done, and then he gives Randy a shout out. He's like, I saw Randy lost money, went and got a pedicure. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is the message we want for everybody.
So-
Get pedicures on your losing days, boys.
I'm the complete opposite of that.
Same.
For sure. Yeah.
I go punish
I've
myself.
never done that before and
Yeah,
never
same.
would.
You do too? Yeah, you go to the
Yeah.
gym and you lift 750 pounds when
Right.
you lost
Yeah.
money because you're mad.
Dude, now that
Dude,
I'm,
you're a
I'm
savage.
more
You're a
consistent
savage
now,
in
though.
the
Sometimes
gym.
it kind of like bothers me in the gym because I'm like, where's my rage-fueled sessions now? I'm not as pissed anymore as the
true.
world.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the preparation and the process. Great answer.
Yeah.
Lawrence, day to day, bro. Talk to us maybe about your morning routine
Yeah,
a
for
little bit.
sure.
He touched stuff like off of trading, but like what do you do in pre-trading to get the mind ready?
Yeah, I don't do cold showers. I don't do cold plunges. I don't do none of that shit, bro. I hate working. I hate working. Of course you do.
Yeah. I'm into the weird stuff like that.
So, me personally, I hate working out early in the morning.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever works for you is best. So for me, what I do in the day to day, I wake up about 8:30, brother. Like I have slow mornings. I wake up pretty like 8:30 sounds insane to a lot of people. Some people wake up at 7. This guy wakes up at like 4 in the morning, 5 a.m.
If I could sleep till 8:30,
Yeah.
bro, I would pay someone for that. You know, to learn how to do that. That's a skill right there, bro.
It is, bro. I was in the military, dude, so I love my sleep, bro. I could sleep in any condition.
100%, bro.
For sure. So I wake up around 8:30 in the morning, and for me, you know, I love to open the blinds. I got to let the sun hit me. Okay, I got to go outside for a walk real quick, clear my mind. One of my biggest things, I have to listen to music, right? Music that's gonna put me in an upbeat.
Change the state.
Yeah, change exactly.
It does.
Exactly. So it gets me ready, puts me in an upbeat, happy, and winning attitude for market open. And that's pretty much it for the most part, man. Like I might, you know, make some tea or something. I'm not a coffee guy. I'll make some tea, put on my AirPods, and I'm just like getting ready, marking on my charts. Me and Tanner, we recently started trading early in the morning together, so we'll hop on Zoom or whatever around 9:15. But that's really what it is. It's just I enjoy peace. I need my desk to be clean. I need a candle lit. I I need some good music. I need to be in a clean environment. So whenever I'm in a clean environment, I can think clearly. So that's really it, bro. Like, that's my morning routine. I wake up pretty slow in the morning. I wake up at 8:30. I go for a nice little walk by myself, let the sunlight come into the room, make some tea, candles, make the bed. And that's it.
I like what you said about the music too, because I think people disregard stuff like that. Like, I'm big into like, how do you change your state? You remember Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street guy?
Yeah.
They sell, I don't know if he still sells it, but they sell these sticks that you smell called boom boom sticks.
It's like he talks about that in his book.
It's a change of state thing, right? You can say what you want, like it's cocaine or whatever. Fine, whatever. I'm just saying, like, smell, sight, sound, they're important things to think about when you're creating the setting to prep yourself for a productive day. I like what you said, because I think it's good advice for the people. Like, bro, how many reels do we see with the guy Ashton with the ice ball, right? Like,
and dipping it in his bed.
Every time,
Yeah.
every time, bro. So it's like, for me, I hate that corny advice, because I think that's social media stuff. What you just said is the real deal, bro. I wake up with my son, I hang out with him for a little bit, my wife comes and takes over, I have coffee with him, we hang out outside. I don't do anything crazy. You know what I'm saying? I want to, like, maybe 18-year-old Austin would, but now it's just, you find balance. Like, I think it's about balancing yourself so you feel the best. Because like you said, when you feel good, you perform good. What do you got? Because you're on the West Coast, so now some of the West Coast people maybe will take tips from you.
Yeah, so wake up 2 a.m., shotgun a white monster.
Oh
No,
my God. I'm getting up.
You animal.
no,
I
so
can see him doing
I
it, bro.
got to for sure.
Yes.
No, so okay, so actually, here's something that really, really helped me recently is when I moved in my new apartment, I didn't have like a really structured routine anymore because I was, new spot, new space, and I used ChatGPT. This is actually something all of you can do. Use ChatGPT and kind of prompt it to figure out how you want to set up your morning routine. And so basically I said, like, look, this is what time I trade. This is what time I want to start taking my setups. I want to get some sort of movement in the morning. I am big on some sort of movement. I can't go lift in the morning because powerlifting is just way too taxing my CNS. So I come back and be like dead. So, but some sort of movement, whether it's a simple walk or something, I put all that into ChatGPT. It spit out this thing. I made this checklist. I laminated it, and literally part of my process is going box by box, checking it every single
Like
morning.
first grade.
Yeah,
And then give yourself a gold star.
Literally, I'm like, okay, go through my process. So actually, the first thing I do every single morning is just wake up and chug a glass of water. I know it sounds silly, but it's like just chug a glass of water. And I recently did start doing fasted cardio, where I wake up at 5 in the morning and I have a treadmill on my roof of my apartment. So I go up there, and it's the same thing every time, bro. I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to go do this.
Right.
But I'm like, whatever, go do it. Get up. Throw on a hoodie, put some electrolytes and some water, go up there, do it 30 minutes. Afterwards, I always feel good.
Every time.
Every time. Do that 3 times a week. When I don't do that in between that, so Tuesday, Thursdays, I wake up about an hour before market open, 5:40, 5:30, whatever. And I will take a walk to the coffee machine in my apartment, like in the building, just to get a little movement to get going. So it's like some sort of movement I think is really, really important. And then after that, just sit down at the desk, start doing my levels, like pre-market prep, the number one thing for sure. It's crazy how many people actually don't do pre-market prep. I'm like, come on, this is an easy, like, it's a necessity. You have to be preparing 100%. For the open.
Right.
So do pre-market prep, send it to the group, me and Lawrence hop on, and then kind of just get after it. So it's like, it's nothing crazy. I'm not doing ice bath or any of that type of stuff in the morning, but I do believe some sort of movement to get the brain going, especially it being, early in the morning, is important.
I think even just doing something disciplined in the morning then makes it easier to be disciplined as a trader. So when you're talking about doing something difficult or doing something hard, even if it is just walking, like just getting yourself out of bed to force yourself to be disciplined. I do this every day. I said I was going to do this every day. When you hold yourself to that, yes, physically you feel good, but I think there's chemicals that I don't know about in your brain that get released that tell you, hey buddy, when you do disciplined things, you feel good and you like it. So now come to trading and that becomes easier. So it goes back to, like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything in a lot of ways, right? With physical fitness being something that everybody here is big on, I feel like this is a controversial take, but I don't know many successful traders that are out of shape. I feel like it's something that's a prerequisite. Like you have to take care of, like I said, the mind, body, the spirit, and then that can make you perform the best. Do we agree with that, or is that too controversial? Like if you're a little chubby, you might want to get yourself together so you can feel better, be healthier, think better, start eating better food, drinking better water. Like why is it bad to say that? You know what I mean?
I think that you're on the money with it because there are a few traders out there that aren't in good shape and they're good traders, but I think that's such a small percentage of it. And in reality, being a trader is awesome because you're trying to become a better version of yourself because trading's hard, right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to always think of ways to improve. So that spills over to other parts of your life, because I always talk about this idea of personal development where it's all these buckets. It's not just one thing, and where you put your energy, you know, that bucket's going to get filled more. But trying to fill every bucket, it takes a lot of strategic work to do that. But naturally, as you get in a routine and streamline things, I think it becomes a lot easier. So it's like now, like my morning routine, you know, it's ingrained in me. Me doing my prep, it's ingrained in me. Me going to the gym every day, you know, it's been ingrained in me for 14 years. Same thing with like food now, you know, I track a lot of my food, like for the most part.
Yeah, bro, stop tagging me in your Instagram stories
Every day,
for lunch, bro.
my ground beef, dude. Like I also eat a lot of the same things because I think actually there's other like talks on this or studies or whatever. I forget who it is, like Jeff Bezos or something.
No, I know
like,
what you're going to say about how many decisions you can make in
Yeah,
a day.
they-
Mark, you're talking about Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes,
He wears the same
the same shirt. Yeah, so I'm like, if I can eat pretty much the same thing every day and I like it,
don't
I'm
have to
like,
think
cool.
about it.
I don't have to think about it much. Like, oh, what do I want for here? What do I want this? So the more you can streamline things and just have it be part of a routine, routine creates consistency. Consistency is what we all want, and that carries over to trading.
Yeah, and I kind of want to touch on that too. Like I said, I was in the military, right? And one thing about being in the military, it's kind of like a fraternity kind of thing where everybody already has mutual respect for each other because you were willing to give away at minimum 4 years of your life to be better. So because of that, I automatically have respect for you. It's the same thing with trading, right? When I went to the boot camp, when I went to your boot camp, everybody in there, they came there to be better people. So at that point, you're surrounding yourself around people who are trying to be a better version of themselves, right? And if you truly want to be a successful trader, that's what it is. You have to be a better you, because what is it? You got to let go of greed. You got to let go of fear. You got to let go of ego, perfectionism, all these different traits that are like holding you back, insecurity, right? So in order for you to be a successful trader, you need to be a better person. They're synonymous. It's not one without the other.
Why do you say most people get into the service? Which, thank you for your service, by the way,
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Why do you think most people get into it to be better? Because when you said that, I thought you were going to say most people get in the service to serve something bigger than them.
Yeah. Some people do. Some people do serve something bigger than them. But
Okay.
for me personally,
It was to be better.
yeah,
You wanted
it
more
was to
discipline in
be,
yourself.
It was to be better. It was
Dude,
to be.
would you
yeah.
believe it or not? My parents almost sent me to military school when I was in 7th grade or 8th grade.
You should have went.
They should have.
Oh, you damn right. I fucking couldn't use it, bro. No, me and my mom were beefing all the time, and I was a loudmouth. I was like a smartass all the time. My dad threatened her.
That explains everything.
It explains everything, bro. Yeah, but you know what? Like, I think it would have been good for me. You
Yeah.
know, I'm lucky that I was able to pick up the discipline, but I'm actually not that disciplined. I'm just like, I think, retarded. Like, I've convinced myself to do the difficult things from like a stupid point of view because I know it works, not because I want to. Like you said, like I wouldn't be lying if I said I like doing some of the hard things that I do. But I do it because you only got one life and you don't want regrets. I operate not so much from a perspective of like I need to be disciplined, but like I don't want to regret something.
Yeah.
My legs work today.
Yeah.
When they don't, when I'm 60, 70, 80, well, hopefully they do. When I'm 90 and they don't work, I'm going to be like, dude, you could have deadlifted a couple more days. You know
And
what I
I
mean?
think that that's a big thing with everybody here at this table and the people that we met. We all have like similar things, right? Where, you know, being on your deathbed, you don't want to regret anything. That's like the whole thing about the entrepreneur thing. We don't want to regret nothing.
That's
we
life.
don't, you know, we're progression junkies. You may
Yes.
feel like you're not disciplined, but we're addicted to progress.
Yes.
It's literally our favorite drug, even if we do decide
Complacency
to do it, you know?
is the enemy.
Yeah,
like to sit
for
still
sure.
and not feel growth would feel unproductive, would feel
Yeah.
what is life worth living?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the shared risk of being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? That we like we could all have gone to school and, you know, like stayed in an easy job that we know we're gonna get paid, like at FPL, right?
Yeah. I was an IT engineer for FPL.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So electric company here in Florida, right? Super good job, but like you'd rather take the risk on yourself and your ability. And if it doesn't work out, like I was, when I started trading, I was doing construction work and I was like, man, I can always go back and like dig ditches. Like it's gonna still be there.
Wait, you were really digging ditches? Because when you told me you were in construction, I thought that meant you were a stripper, like dressed like a
That's currently.
Oh, that's
That's
currently.
currently.
Okay.
Yeah, back then.
But you're right, bro. You're so right.
labor.
You're so right.
Yeah.
You want to get in on that?
Yeah, I think it's like just building on this concept of like, how do we get better, right? It's a day-to-day thing. I think actually there's like a side tangent on this, but I find it hard to relax now without beating myself up. Because once your brain is wired for progression and you have to schedule time to chill and feel okay with it. So I'm like, taking an hour or two to like relax, like with my girlfriend at night or something like that. I'm sure you guys with family and stuff, like hanging out with your wife and kids. Like that's a mandatory thing you need to schedule in. And our brains are so wired to like go. No, you can't be relaxing right now. You got to keep going. It's like, no, you got to be okay with being like, I'm taking this time to allow myself to relax and chill. And it's not like you're being lazy at all because you're grinding 99.9% of the time.
For what? Grinding for what?
Exactly.
Because like you just said, the misuse of time all of a sudden happens as an entrepreneur. You start being all work, no play, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then the people around you start going, well, why are you doing all this if you're not even going to give us time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you also lose this concept of how much you're working, quote unquote, as an entrepreneur.
Right.
Like when people are like, how many hours a day you work? I'm like, I don't know,
every
all
day?
day. Like, because I don't count that. I'm like, I'm
Where's
messaging
the punch clock?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm messaging a client at 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
I'm like, that's technically working, but I'm not looking at it like that. Like, you sit down and trade for 3-4 hours.
That's 'cause
with
you love
prep. Yeah, it's because you love it. So it's like, I never think about that, but then when it's after the end of a long day, I'm like, wow, I've been grinding all day. I had like 6 calls today. I traded and streamed. I made some content. I lifted. I did this. I'm like, oh, but I feel like full and satisfied from it. And I think that feeling itself also is what's addicting.
Yes.
Because you're like, all right, cool. Like it's like I filled my cup today. Let's fill it again tomorrow.
You
So
two
I-
need- sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I do something at the end of the day, which because I have the same thing, man. I could be like, dude, I didn't do shit today. Like, I'm so lazy, this, that. But really, the truth is I went to the gym. I made this amount of calls, like whatever it is. So I call it my victories list. And so then I just go through basically my whole day. So then I can see from when I wake up at 6 to when I go to sleep, all the stuff I did. And like, the normal person would be like, my God, man. Like,
It's like a
look at all
gratitude
this
thing.
is insane.
Right? Like you're grateful for that
Right.
too at the same
Yeah, yeah.
time. So you're like reminding yourself.
Well, and I
like,
do a gratitude list in there too.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a good conversation to have because I think traders sometimes think, I think this was my biggest takeaway from the seminar. I didn't answer at the beginning, but like traders think they are not entrepreneurs. And when I got on stage and I was like, let me talk about this for a second. It was not scripted, where I was like, who here thinks that trading needs to be their only source of income? How many people listening to this have heard that to be a trader, you have to rely on that as your one stream of income? And I'm ready to like use you guys, build our little army of entrepreneur traders and green light people to be entrepreneurial. It's not going to be easy. Like we're talking about, it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to learn to rewire your brain, balance your time. But if I give you that green light and you stop thinking you have to only make your money from trading, I bet you can make more money trading along your journey faster versus going all in on trading, make or break, and that's it. I encourage people, start doing YouTube channels, start doing coaching, start doing affiliate stuff. More money doesn't hurt your trading. It will help you trade better. But a lot of people in our space are one and done, one trick ponies, and I ain't that it. But I was going to say for you two, you guys got to already, since you're so busy with your coaching program, schedule a vacation or a break or whatever. Me and the boys, me and James and Evan, for our coaching, we do it every year. There has to be weeks where you're not responsible to do stuff. You need to chill. And you'll see very quickly your coaching program will carry through the entire year because you'll have demand. When are you going to do anything for yourself? I would recommend doing it right now when we get off this podcast. Pick a week where you're not going to talk to your clients. You're going to tell them we're off. They're not going to care because you tell them in advance, and go somewhere. You don't have to go together. That's kind of, but like other than that,
It's a little getaway.
it's a little getaway.
Yeah.
But I think that type of reset for the entrepreneur is easier to plan and schedule in the calendar and then stick to it rather than the day to day. Like it's hard for me at 5 o'clock to just stop at 5 o'clock like my wife sometimes wants. I like to go sometimes until the work is done. But then when is the work done? And then it's all gray. Well, if we know Monday morning we are leaving for Miami for a vacation for a week and we're coming back, I can get all my calls cleared and she'll let me work in advance harder to then enjoy that time even more. So it's really just being in the game. I think you learn how to balance it more. But I would recommend to the people listening, like, don't think trading is a one trick thing. Like this whole podcast is more entrepreneurship stuff than just trading stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like everything we've said could be on the Diary of a CEO kind of podcast talking about successful entrepreneurship because successful entrepreneurship feeds successful trading for sure.
I want to chime in on like I know we're speaking tons of like discipline, routine and stuff like that. And while 98% of that is correct, like we live in that, I love myself a little good bender every now and then.
Come on.
I'm going to Vegas next month. I'm like, for a couple of days, I'm like, go to a pool party, let loose for a little bit.
Well, it's important not to take ourselves so serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I used to be that exact way where I like thought I had to be like the best trader and realized, I'm not going to be, right? So like,
And it's like,
take that
I'm
pressure
good
off
now.
myself,
Yeah,
right? Like, and just being able to laugh at myself and the journey I'm on, because like that actually creates the mystery of life. If I'm just like too serious about life, I mean, I miss it altogether.
Which is like, what are you supposed to do? Have it all figured out? What is the point of living?
Exactly.
The best saying for an entrepreneur, when you finally buy in on the journey is the destination. When you stop trying to shoot for an end goal and you realize like you built a life or you built a path that you enjoy getting up every day and doing, now you're winning.
Yeah.
The money's going to come and go. You're going to make and lose money along the way. But if you buy in and feel like the journey, I think that hit me in 2018 and I started saying that and I'm like, oh, I get it. I heard that saying my whole life and I didn't get it. But now I'm really doing something I love. I love working with traders. I love creating content. I love being an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I don't want this to end. Like what, I make $100 million and I just stop? Well, that's not
what's next, right?
Exactly.
And like, yeah, amen to that, because I remember sweeping floors at the restaurant, picking up ranch cups and stuff. And like, this is after I quit my corporate job, started trading, and then went back to the restaurant at night in order to like pay my bills because it was brand new to trading. I remember doing all that and being like, this will be worth it one day. Like you just got to keep doing, like, and like, this is the process. And I actually had like that epiphany probably like a few months ago where, I don't work at the restaurant anymore. Like I'm not on the schedule. I actually tell them still, I'm like, if you guys want me to cover a shift, hit me up. I'll do it. I might pop in once a quarter, do a little bar shift. And honestly, it's kind of nice because it reminds me the value of a dollar. Dude, busting my ass 7 to 8 hours, pouring beers,
For $400
serving people, $400, like,
If you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like when I could make that in 1 minute on a trade.
Right.
So it's like doing that, I'm like, damn, dude, like remember where you came from, like never get complacent, but keep, it's the motivation to keep pushing and doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, yeah, this is the journey. This is the process.
You're better than
like,
me, brother. I'm never going back. I'm never going back. It's so crazy. Like the job that I had with FPL, right? I was like fully remote, $55 an hour, complete autonomy. And people would literally kill for that job, but it was literally killing my soul. Like every time it would just, once a month, I would have to go in for a meeting and my soul would just like degrade, bro. And then Tanner, he'll just be like, bro, you need to get out
I always
of
would
there,
say,
bro.
I'm like,
You need to
quit,
get
bro.
out of
You're
there.
ready. Quit,
Yeah,
quit.
bro, so
he's making enough money. I'm like, dude, do it.
We should circle up. Mentors, books. I had never asked you this on the previous podcast. I don't think you cracked into it. Let's talk first like entrepreneurship, like high level, John Maxwell, stuff like that. Any books or mentors that, Lawrence, you want to go first? Books or mentors that have made a big impact on you as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, I would say that for me, I think that I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was pretty rebellious, very smart guy, but I graduated with like a 1.8 GPA, but everybody knew. Yeah, nice, yeah. So I think the biggest people, I used to watch Shark Tank all the time. Yeah, man, I used to love Damon John. Like guy. He was just always so sharp, bro. Earrings huge, just dressed nice, fashion guy. Yeah. Damon John is a very, very successful. He started Fubu. And it just inspired me just watching those deals and everything on Shark Tank. I used to watch that during COVID a lot and just binge it. So I think that like Shark Tank is where it kind of cemented. I used to have an uncle when I was in middle school. He actually opened up a brokerage account for me, and I started like reading Stocks for Dummies and stuff like that mildly. And it's so crazy how that came like full circle. Right now, I do have a trading coach, and it's so crazy because we're trading coaches, and he has a psychologist. I have a trading coach.
Yeah,
it's like it's levels to this, and it kills me that when we hop on calls, people will try to like negotiate the pricing that we have for our trading, and it's very, very good. We have like the best deal on the market at Strong Trading, right? And they would try to like price us down, and I'm like, dude, I spend over $25,000 a year on coaching.
And that ain't
minimum.
that much, yeah.
Minimum. And you're over here talking about these prices. Like, there's no way that you want to be a successful trader, financial freedom, financially independent, want to be a millionaire, X, Y, and Z, and you're not willing to invest in yourself. And the more that you invest in yourself and you don't think of money as your God, but think of it as a tool to use, then you will be much more successful. The moment you detach, and this is for trading too, the moment you detach from money and you tell yourself like trading and money has nothing to do with each other. It's almost like playing Uno, but we're betting $1 a hand. Like Uno has nothing to do with money, right? So once you actually sit there and tell yourself like, this is a career, this is something that I want to do for the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, then you start to get relieved from the pressure of trying to make $1 very quick, right? Start thinking of trading as like a get rich quick kind of thing, and let me make it to this payout, and all of these type of things. Like me, for example, I trade Top Step, I trade Top One, I trade Blue Sky, and they have these like payout policies, of course. But I only pay myself out once a month. I completely ignore the consistency rules. I just trade, bro. I just love the activity of trading. So once you ignore the payout policies, once you ignore the consistency rules, like for example, Top Step has 20% consistency rule. Bro, I will hit a home run on you guys. And I will
Top
catch
one.
Top
Sorry,
one.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
top one. I apologize.
You're good, you're good.
No,
Hey, that's
top
compliment.
one. Sorry, I do Top One, Top Step, and Blue Sky. So all of them is But the consistency rule for Top One, I don't pay attention to it, bro. If my system yields me this, profit target and this stop loss, I'm going to hit it every single time, and I'm just going to keep trading over and over because I'm not going to stop no time soon. Right. So
I love what you said. Great mentors. Your uncle putting you on, bro, for sure. What do you got?
I got two people that come to mind. First one actually is what got me into entrepreneurship, and it was one video on the internet. It was Gary Vee in a white t-shirt. The timing was immaculate. It was literally like the day I graduated college. And it's just like, at that time, it was just like, who's this dude like yelling at me? He's like, if you're 22 to 26 years old and you just graduated and you don't know what to do with your life, he's like, you are literally in the best fucking time ever right now to try everything. And I remember at that time, because I was the first person in my family to graduate college. I was like, do I want to go to a physical therapy school? I was like, do I want to become a personal trainer? Do I want to open a gym? And so I just kind of tried to do everything. I didn't do physical therapy school. I ended up becoming a personal trainer, ended up opening a gym for a little bit, failed, started like a drop shipping business, failed, tried to start an app with some dudes from the tech company I worked with, failed. And then I found trading and I was like, this is it. I'm going to stick with this. And just that advice of like your 20s is, I remember so much pressure of you have to have it figured out. And I'm like, dude, no, you don't. This is literally your time to try a bunch of shit. And so seeing that video, just the timing of it, of me being lost and being like, okay, I can try whatever I want. I do have some time, not put all this urgency, but try things and figure out what I like. That made a huge impact on me in entrepreneurship and mindset because I was willing to take risks. I was always taking risks. Like everyone, I remember being at my corporate job, trading, my boss come up behind me and be like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, but he doesn't know what I'm looking at and stuff. I'm getting ready to quit my job. That's what I'm doing. So that had a huge impact on me. And also my mentor still to this day, Joe Lacricchio, who's the owner of the restaurant, Tony Pepperoni, that I've worked at forever in my life. He owns, I think, 6 locations now. He had a 8-figure real estate portfolio. I remember he had a cash for gold business at one point. He was doing gold parties at the restaurant. He'd bring all these old ladies would bring all their jewelry and they sell it to them and stuff. And he's always doing something. And so I started meeting with him just throughout my entrepreneur journey. I remember I met with him for the gym, went through my first little thing with some business partners, and he's like, it's a life lesson. So he's always been mentoring me. And even when I just hired you, I remember, because I went to him, I have coffee with him, so once a quarter, update him on everything with life and, everything. And I was like, I'm getting ready to hire my first, coach under me. I'm pretty excited. And he's like, Tanner, he's like, I'm not surprised, but amazed. He always would say that. And I'm like, just super stoked. He's always pushing me and putting me on. He always says, he's like, I know you're going to make it. He's like, you're a lion. And just always putting me. And so he told me, with Lawrence, he's like, I'm really stoked that you're getting one person. He's like, but I want you to think about getting 5 coaches under you. And I'm like, 5? I'm just thinking about 1. He's like, I want you to think about 5. And so it's people like that in your life that make you think bigger, think bigger.
Did I not say the same thing though?
You
Did I say you're going to need the next one?
You did, honestly. And that's even how I reached out to Lawrence too, because you're find someone in your community that's crushing it, that you vibe with, see if they're interested in mentoring. He was already kind of doing it a little bit. And
you're welcome.
This is perfect. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I also want to touch on what you said, man, about, when you're in your early 20s and you don't know what you want to do. That is what we call an asymmetric bet, right? When you have a bunch
All
of upside,
no downside.
no downside, bro.
100%.
put it all on the line, right? Like do the most craziest, most riskiest thing with crazy
no one will
upside.
care if you fail. No.
Exactly. You're not losing anything.
You're not losing
You're
nothing.
doing
Can't do it when
anything.
you got kids.
Exactly.
Can't do it when you got mortgages.
Exactly,
Yeah.
bro. It becomes heavier. So
Well, you can. You just need more
Exactly. More. I understand what you
wiggle room.
Yeah.
What do you got
Exactly,
for
yeah.
mentors?
Yeah, so you know me, I'm into a little more far out stuff the most for mentors. But I will say from a business standpoint, of course, I've done read all the books, Greg Cardone, been to a bunch of Tony Robbins seminars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you went to any of those.
Yeah, I was big into his world for a couple years. Yeah, no, hey, dude, he's the OG, man.
He is,
and
bro.
he is the OG, and his stuff is super legit. I mean, we're talking about changing our state. That's it.
That's why he's got that little trampoline he bounces on.
Yeah, for sure. So, but one of the best business books that I've read that made an impact on me, especially for sales, because you have to realize it's all sales, right? So, it's a book. The reason I say it's because most people probably haven't heard of it. It's called Go Giver Sells More. And all it's about is giving to your like asking questions, right? So like you ever talk to a sales guy that's like super good where it really just asks a lot of questions and gets to know you and sees what's the need that needs to be met. Not like, hey, you know, buy this car and you know it's going to be great to take your kids to school at whatever. It's like, why do you want a minivan, right? Like asking the questions, figuring out. I think Matt does this too for sure. Like, and my business partners, like understanding what traders in the prop space are looking for, right? Not like how we can get in here and make money. It's like how can we fill a gap in the market that you know isn't there that needs to be filled. You know what I mean? So Go Giver Sells More. If from a sales perspective, I would recommend reading that book. It's awesome. It's a quick read. And yeah, so and I read that in probably like 2014 when I was just like wanted to learn how to make money online, you know? So that would be the business perspective. And then 2016, I went through a period of my life where I went and stayed at Sadhguru's ashram.
Really?
Yeah. So I've done all the programs at Isha, which is their foundation. And before he blew up, you know, because his American Center's in Tennessee, so it's like an hour from Nashville. And I know you have yoga teacher training. Most people probably know who he is. So yeah, let's go do the programs there, like 10, 12-day meditations at a time, like where you're wearing like all white, or you know, if you saw it from the outside, you'd be like, Clay's joined a cult. But it gave me a new perspective about life and the practices today I still do that I learned. So reading books like Osho, Ram Dass was a huge impact on my life. And the reason why I bring that up is because like how can I grow deeper spiritually? Because that's going to impact my relationships with people and the way I view the world. So that's kind of, and also I'm just super interested in that stuff, you know? So a great business book's awesome, but you know, people can only say so many things about how to sell or grow a brand or whatever. It's like, but you know, the journey looking into yourself and who am I? Why am I even here? That there is no final answer to that question.
No.
You
And
know?
it has
So I
like
think-
compounding effects.
Yeah, exactly, and impacts the rest of life in such a profound way. So, yeah.
Gary Vee was big for me, bro. I started making
Yeah,
videos
Gary
in
Vee
20
is awesome.
Gary Vee, I didn't take the same thing you took, but I took build a personal brand now, because in 20, 30 years, people will buy from people, not big companies. So I started making videos. That's where I started my Snapchat journey, showing my trading. You know what I'm saying?
Oxygen or
Content
is the oxygen to
Yeah,
your business.
It is, bro. And that's why when
always
people,
says that.
I mean, you guys complimented me earlier, like you're a machine. I am.
That was in
You are a
2013.
I'm a
too.
machine. That was in
When he
2013. When he was
Gary-
nobody.
Yeah. That
Gary
and he was-
Vaynerchuk. He's still spitting in a
Vaynerchuk,
bucket
yeah.
of wine.
Yeah.
Like he was still doing wine videos.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I found him in 2016.
Exactly,
So,
right
yeah,
when he
you know,
finished
a
that.
little
Yeah,
after,
and he started the daily vlogs and everything. I started doing vlogs. It inspired me from content, but he also inspired
And
me.
he's like a New Yorker vibe.
Yeah, I love
too.
that.
Yeah,
And he's,
yeah,
I mean, he's a Russian Jew. Like we got along like that. You know what I'm saying? He inspired me a lot too because it was like he gave me the green light to just do what I thought would be good content, not to appease other people's content. You know, and that's where I found my niche in my style of making content, similar to you, the way you have done with your Instagram. So Gary Vee was big for me. I think my yoga teacher training, definitely, like you said, a lot of spiritual stuff there. I did get married by a monk too, wearing all white. So maybe I'm in a cult. I don't know. We'll let the internet have. I'm sure they'll find pictures of that and make me look and rip me up for that.
Always
But
something.
I think, like you said, it the best. Like I found business books get repetitive.
Yeah.
I like to hear it from different angles. Like I'm not saying I won't take it from different angles.
That's pause.
Pause. But the spiritual stuff, man, like I've done even psychedelics and stuff like that. I almost would say that's more valuable at this point than reading another business book. You know what I mean? Like that deeper self inner work. Why are you doing this, bro? Why are you working so hard? Or maybe even a little refresher of like, hey, what's important? Stop working as much. Like those spiritual things I think have helped me as an entrepreneur because I already got it. Like you said it, Lawrence. No one taught you to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You just were.
Yeah.
And that was what I kind of wanted to finish with. Now that we've talked about entrepreneurship and trading, is entrepreneurship, the skills that go in there, they're parallel to trading. So are those skills taught or are you born with them? You go first.
Oh, they're for sure, I would say, taught.
Really?
I would say they're taught because I don't think you're just innately born with it. Actually, I could go back on this because my first entrepreneurial thing ever, the story comes to mind. I was in first grade. It was Crazy Hair Day. And I brought the can of spray to
My man is selling wigs.
color your hair at school.
100%.
And some kid came up and he's like, "Can I get a spray?" And I was like,
$5.
Yeah, $5. And I went home. I weighed like $100. My mom. I go home that day. My mom was like, "Where'd you get all this money?" And I was like, "Oh, I sold a bunch of sprays
Why
in the
don't I just see
bathroom."
Tanner like big? Like, I beat everybody up and took their lunch money.
No, I used to be skinny, bro. But like, so maybe it is born within you. I truly believe everyone has a choice. You have a choice how you want to live your life. And it's all these little choices which actually affect the greater outcome. So in the sense of entrepreneurship being taught, I do believe once you start to like kind of go down that rabbit hole of like, okay, maybe I can get better here. You know, we start molding your mind to like suffer, but it's okay, bigger picture. That's how it's taught. But yeah, maybe innately there are some things where you're just wired like that because there's 9-to-5ers out there that's just what they want to do. And I can tell you right now, I am not that fucking person. I am not a 9-to-5er. It is not who I am.
What do you think about them teaching entrepreneurship in colleges?
Dude, one of honestly my biggest regrets is my senior year of college. I signed up for an entrepreneurship class and I only had so many credits I needed to take left and I was lazy and I just ended up dropping it because I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm over it. And like still to this day,
Do you think you could learn it in school?
I think the fact that it's being taught is a move in the right direction. Because like, the fact that we had a class like that, I'm like, that's so sick.
But how do you teach someone to take on the risks?
Because the only thing I remember is I was in the class for like 2 weeks, but right away it was like, okay, you need to find people and you need to like create like a product or create some sort of thing and then basically like pitch it to the class. Like that was the whole thing. Like right away, like first thing, it was like the first or second day. And so like, oh,
This grinds me, bro. I hate entrepreneurship in colleges. You want to learn to be an entrepreneur? Go work for somebody that is an entrepreneur.
for sure.
Well, the dudes teaching those classes, you know, obviously like didn't crush it in entrepreneurship.
Or they,
You know what I'm
or
saying?
they did, and they're old. Like
Right,
the one
yeah,
when
yeah,
I was in school, he was 65 years old. He didn't talk about digital marketing. He didn't talk about Facebook ads, Google ads. You can't even talk to me about entrepreneurship if you're still talking about billboards, bro. So yeah, I think it's tough to teach that. But it is interesting that they are teaching it to at least inspire people. All right, taught or learned? Sorry, taught or born with.
Yeah,
That's
taught or born with. You know, I'm going to take it from a different angle.
Okay.
To a degree, I think it's some kind of, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I think it's some kind of trauma, right? Like, I think that we are all, as entrepreneurs, bro, we're trying to prove to ourselves that we're good enough, but it's like a extreme, right? Where we know that we're great, but also we're very insecure about it at the same time, because that is the only way you can be resilient enough to go through these volatile moments, bro. Like, I can't even, without even knowing your history, Austin, I could tell you that you've probably failed more times than anybody could ever try. I'm pretty sure the same thing for you.
And I'll agree with what you're saying, because I feel what you're saying, because mine comes from the trauma of scarcity. You come from that. You
Dude,
see scarcity. You don't want that
1000%.
anymore.
That's
so
trauma.
you work. It's trauma.
Yeah.
Bro, you probably just said the most valuable thing in the
You-
podcast.
you- because honestly, right when you said that, like my eyes lit up because all the time, literally, women out there, all men want is to be successful and be supported
And
while
respected.
being and respected and be supported while being successful. So, like, I didn't grow up with money in my family, so same thing. Like when you said that, I was like, that is my biggest driving factor. I'm like, I just don't want to fail.
I grew up with money.
Same.
Yeah, like I grew up with money. I didn't, but the thing is, the reason why I had to prove myself is because I didn't want nobody to think that my family gave me money. That's one of the biggest reasons why I went to the military as well, because they strip you from everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally, the moment you go to boot camp, they send you off, take off all your clothes, take off everything, you're butt naked in front of everybody, and then they give you what you have, which is bare minimum, and you build from there. So me growing up in a fortunate, affluent neighborhood, and having a great childhood and stuff like that, I wanted to show that I didn't need this. Like I really didn't. I think the one thing that pushed me the most is the fact that I had a mother that had unwavering belief in me, telling me that I could do anything. I had a Donda. I was like Kanye West, bro. Like I had a mom that literally told me that I can do anything in this world and don't think twice about it.
That's so important.
Every single time, like when I had that 6-figure, fully remote job with FPL as an engineer, quit. That's what my mom told me. Like, listen, if this is what you want to do, quit, right? And that's what I did, and I gave it up.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a trauma. I think we're trying to prove to ourselves and prove to everybody that we're really as good as we know that we are and we think we are, because we go through a lot of failures, and that's the only way that you can go through the failures, the ups, the downs, the trauma, like just failing over and over. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, bro. Like even if you go to, and I agree with you, you can't go to a class and build resilience, bro. Like it has to be deeper.
Let me show you.
Whatever.
Let me show you no money in your bank account. Show me that in a classroom.
Yeah.
But you still got to spend on your business. Run up a credit card debt like I did to start your business. Let me show you that. How are you going to teach me that in a classroom? I think my trauma comes from my dad always saying, I want to do this for you so you're more successful than me. We're going to move to this town and get you into a better public school so you're more successful than me. Well, that's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I think I had a little bit of the dog in me, but then that comes into it. Like the way you just said it, you had your mother, but you still had the dog in you to prove and say, I don't need this money, I'll do it myself. Yeah. And that's my thesis. My thesis is that you are born with something that the people around you either enhance and you get around great people, or you just become a W-2 or whatever it's called when you get a regular job and you just get complacent. So I think some people have it and then the right people spark it and it goes. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
No, really?
No.
I think that you're 100% born with it, because like for me, I would. There's nothing else that I would do other than like doing it my own way, whatever that looks like, and then figuring out as I go along. And some people just aren't wired that way. You know what I mean? Like, and entrepreneurship, especially with like Gary Vee and stuff, became like popular too, right? And everybody thinks they're going to be an entrepreneur and crush it and live this awesome life, and then they're like, oh my god. Like,
Well, that's how it was in 2018, bro. Everybody had entrepreneur in their bio.
It became cool until you are in $40,000 of credit card debt, and then it's not cool.
Right. And then COVID hit, and then everybody changed the entrepreneur to crypto trader.
Right. Yeah. So, and it takes a certain type of person to be able to, weather that and be like, okay, I'm 40K in debt, but I'm gonna figure this out. Like
Dude,
it's gonna get
takes
better.
a special
like,
kind of fucked up.
Right. So I have a game plan.
Yeah.
Like a master plan, and some people don't think like that. They would prefer the security. I would, me super well. I'd prefer the freedom. I want to be able to fly to Brazil and do something crazy
skiing.
and like go skiing. And I would rather take the risk on that, and it's just about betting on myself.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what everybody listening will relate to. Is like what we've done in different ways has been betting on ourselves, right? Even when other people maybe told you not to. So for the listeners, traders, take the bet on yourself. That's probably the best advice we've got. You know what I'm saying? You said it best, especially when you're younger. You only have one life, right? So if you're 40 and you want to start to learn, we got guys in our mentorship that are 40, 50, 60 years old, crushing it. But I think especially in the young years, go for it. You gotta find that. And honestly, if some of you are listening to this whole panel, this whole podcast, and you think, I really agree with these guys, I'll challenge you to go find entrepreneurs to get around. Go get around people that are making more money than you physically.
That's critical, man.
Not just on the phone. You gotta get around people that are not just where you want to be, but doing better than you, and be happy for them. I hate when I see people talking down to other entrepreneurs. If you're a true entrepreneur, bro, it doesn't matter where somebody else is in their journey because you know your shit can go bankrupt in a month, bro.
literally.
Like you know the grind. So when you respect other people and then you guys can go find people like that, it'll take you to the next level. You know, the rising tide lifts all ships. That's why we all enjoy working together so much. Like we all lift each other up. So
Exactly.
boys, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
We can just keep going.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fire.
I need some
It's
lunch and
fire.
then we can keep going.
Yeah, it's fire.
Let's do this, everybody. Links for these guys will be in the description. Make sure you go connect with them. I'm sure we're going to do more videos in the future. Lawrence and I will have a podcast coming out soon too. But we really appreciate you guys staying all the way through. I hope you enjoyed the panels that we've had over the last couple of weeks. Make sure you just check the links, connect with the boys, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man.